Varu is banned out.
Uh-huh.
This is like subbing in a one-trick. Why did they ban my one-trick?
Well, I mean, Afreeca have decided that, yes, we want to take out the 80 carries. Cassiopeia going to be banned on the blue side because Gen G's so scared that there's going to be too many OPs left up.
Well, they just want their scrims to have meant something, because the moment that you see an enemy 80 carry that's a jungle player, you want to get as square a draft as possible, and we just don't know anything about what Afreeca want to do. They tried 2 different strategies. They tried 2 different junglers. They played Karthus jungle. They've really been all over the place. Rakan has been played by Spirit before in the funnel meta.
That's true. I like that stat is all of a sudden relevant based on the roster that they have fielded here today. You were talking about a square draft, and I think Urgot first pick is about the squarest you could possibly get to. Akali Rakan would be the answering square draft.
Nice takeaway from QV as well. Did play it in the LCK and not look great, but he was a beast on that pick back at Kesper Cup.
Yes.
Galio Nocturne for, well, whatever they're doing, let's kill them. Very good duo against double jungle. If that does come out, again, guys, if you're joining us late, Dread is their sub-jungler. And his playing is, okay, we got a Vayne.
Vayne's just locked in, and look at the grin on Ucal's face. They're doing it. They're nuke, duck, and fly.
That still doesn't explain Dread in the lineup, though, Atlas. We're still learning here. That's only the first roar from the crowd. They knew something was up the moment that Dread was in the lineup.
I mean, I have to take that back because, of course, Vayne is a flex pick.
Yep.
What a beautiful meta we're in.
Ah, yes, the Leona ban. Standard ban here
yes,
from the Freecs.
Some understandable stuff.
It's good against Rakan, so that's why they do it.
Understandable.
And Proud is coming in. 2 games of Jelly, 2 games of Proud. I thought Proud was a little bit better, but I mean, they got slammed, so it doesn't really translate into too much.
Olaf taken away from Spirit. One of his key picks is the Sivir. Taken off the board for Ruler. Not going to get this slow-moving comp after all the globals are on cooldown, moving any faster with the On the Hunt.
This game, again, there's just nothing intelligent for me to say. The sub-jungler's playing 80 carries, so
I mean,
I don't
you
know.
say that over and over again.
I don't know what to make of this from Afreeca. They're going to take a Olaf and Xinjiao ban to try to remove Peanuts.
I mean, they get double value.
Face.
They get double value out of jungle bans because there's 2 junglers. Everybody wins. Morgana going to be taken off the board, as I believe Proud should theoretically be playing that, but who knows?
Well, Gen G are just going to say, let's play the most boring comp ever. How about Kai'Sa Tahm Kenshi and just make it all about Kai'Sa in the late game and Nocturne Galio? It's a possibility. They want it. If you want to counterpick, Soraka's the best lane counterpick into a Morgana. And you don't know for sure it's not Vayne bot lane. And Vayne can lane against Kai'Sa. So there's no guarantees just yet. Gen G, for all their work to try to make it a square draft where everything's predictable, hasn't worked out. And they do go for an engaged support rather than the peel support. Alistair into Morgana. It gets to a good place, but doesn't start at one.
No, it doesn't. So Gen G, they are using that dirty word that Spirit may have uttered earlier on. The scaling word is coming into
Corki
fruition.
Here. That's the Korean choice. Klepto Corki into Galio mid. You know the lane assignments. I guess small chance QV plays top lane Galio. All right. You don't have a jungler. And here we go. We get a Camille. Camille jungle coming out.
All right, this is interesting.
And maybe this is just Spirit plays only tank junglers, Dread only plays the aggressive junglers, and it seems like Dread will be starting jungle for this game.
But where does everybody else go?
I mean,
is it Morgana in the
is
bottom
Yukal
lane
going to lane
position
against Galio? Is Morgana Rakan one of these hodgepodge duos? We had a bit of Morgana carry in the summer season. Remember, Bang was playing a lot of that.
Yes.
And it does mean you're going to have a big AP Black Shield for Vayne to tumble her way through as Keen.
And Keen's going to be taking it topside.
All right. So we get Yukal on the Akali. We get Vayne versus Urgot. It's been spoken of as a good matchup into Urgot. I feel like this can go very, very wrong if Nocturne's there, but I can understand it based on tumbling around, never getting hit by a Q. The handshake there is such a weird handshake. It's like,
no.
Sorry. Also, good luck.
Yeah, exactly. The thing that I find very interesting about this one is that they put a sub-jungler into the bottom lane position, and their top laner is now playing a bot lane champion.
In top lane?
In maybe the top lane, but maybe the mid lane?
You know, we are sitting before a moment in time, and we will learn much about that moment in the proceeding time. But right now, I don't know, Atlas. It's all a bit wonky in this particular game.
Well, let's see if it actually pays off if the Afreeca Freecs, because what they put together as far as a team composition is one that sort of makes sense.
I say Morgana or Khan bot, just to farm it out, and then Vayne theoretically has Klepto for a lot of gold and shows up with a black shield. I get that. I understand it, and Dread is the more aggressive jungler, so fits the meta. And yet I still have no idea.
Yeah. And look, you can just farm things out. Everything's fine. But let's hear from the fans, see whether they think it's going to work. Genji fans still there. Both of these orgs so incredibly storied. Hextech Vayne going to be picked up as Keen is in the mid lane, as I assume most of you suspected he would be. As our observer's going to have a really rough time.
When do you switch it up? Of course, Yukal, Dread, Keen, Spirit, and Proud. That's how you read this roster.
Yes, yes, yes. And remember the positions that these players were in at the beginning. It's only Proud that's still where he's supposed to be in this game.
And he's on Rakan, so he feels pretty good about that.
Yeah.
No nerfs on 9.1, 9.2. The big Rakan adjustment down. Ruler has lived through some weird times, and you know what? He finds an awesome dude in bot lane.
Yes.
It's Spirit.
That's what the Afreeca Freecs were doing against Genji all 2018, and I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same. As we saw what Nukeduck did to the Galio in the mid lane, he also took Kleptomancy. Keen decided he does not want to do that. He's got Press the Attack on his Vayne.
That'll hurt a lot.
Yeah, that'll hurt a real
Hail of
lot.
Blades is an option. Kleptomancy is usually the farm choice in mid, most recently by Nukeduck, but press the attack, double press the attack between Dread and Keen means we're definitely pressing the attack in this game.
The attack has been pressed. Pop Smithy, you're exactly right. As
Fly's just like, this really does suck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sucked even more.
In the mid game,
from what I saw,
Keen will be just ridiculously strong. He is going to be 2-item Vayne with probably 3 points in a Black Shield.
Yes.
So,
and also with solo experience, which is something that's much better for a Vayne than a lot of other AD carries.
Rageblade by the Rune King and a Black Shield, and that should be some happy times. Here are some things you could do to ruin solo queue. Interesting. Relentless Hunter is the choice on the tree there. I guess none of the other hunters are must-takes. Doesn't want the attack speed, apparently.
Yeah, that's going to take the
on the precision.
instead.
Let's go for the Bloodlines, which is buffed on 9.2, but not buffed on this patch. Interesting.
The cut down makes a heck of a lot of sense against either the Galio or the Urgot, so that one is some normalcy. I want to see how the laning phase is going to go here.
So let's talk about what Afreeca has. We're not going to talk about the nameplates, let's talk about the comp.
Yes.
They have huge skirmishing advantage, Vayne and Camille every day of the week against Nocturne and Galio early.
Yep.
Camille has the ability to walk around, and when you come to the lanes here, I think top lane's a bit of a wash. Obviously, happy times for Vayne, and Spirit, once he gets some levels, will be able to push. They do have the ability as
whoa! That...
You know, I've got a
That's
bit
a
of
buff I didn't see.
I'm a bit sick today, but I think we all saw that, right?
Did we?
I mean, I hope so.
Did we publish Smithy? Maybe it's all in your head.
It looked like an impressionist painting of Genji's performance at Worlds.
Oh, God, yeah. The Yukal Picasso. Jesus.
So, Camille's very empowered. Vayne should be farming it out. And Spirit is, as the resident old man, on the Morgana. So just push, push, push activity in the bot side. So, wielding that, assuming they have scrims on this, which you have to assume they do, given they've made a very interesting decision.
Yep.
In the mid game, if they run at the enemy and the enemy takes the fight, you gotta like Afreeca if Keen doesn't die instantly.
And look at Fly. Fly just noped out of the mid lane. I feel like he's about to have a temper tantrum. Like if I was
this lane is
in
just
this lane,
the most bad.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
You just throw a Q, it ends up pushing the wave, you don't get any harass down, Vayne gets the silver bolts off, you max silver bolts first, and you're gonna build health, if any stats. In the mid lane, a disaster when it comes to that. But to Genji's credit, they could only really pick a comp that does what it says on the tin, because there was so much madness, no scouting report on the team that famously doesn't play solo queue. So, literally they were just like, I mean, our comp goes in, but
and this has worked before.
It's gone worse than expected in terms of the lane assignments, though. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, now Puddle goes down, and Spirit takes a full Acathian Rain. And there's not a lot to be said for how this lane is supposed to go. It's supposed to be Morgana keeps pushing and nullifies the fact that there is even a laning phase in the game.
But what did we learn about Morgana when the good teams played it? Actually, Bang had some good wins on that one with effort. That was Morgana should allow for easy roam access for your support. And Rakan roams very, very well. So let's see if we get a super early boots of mobility and the playmaking to begin, whether it's around mid lane or top lane, because That's what we learned. If you just marooned bot lane and going CS for CS with a Kai'Sa, well, that's bad.
Yeah.
A Morgana. All you have is utility, really, as the game goes on. So actually using Proud, who in the highlight reel showed a very nice Rakan engage, so clearly can play the champion. See on first back timings what happens, as Spirit predictably has gone for the teleports, has a TP advantage overall.
Dread has been quite quiet, though, and Peanut has been just farming. Level 5 now on the Nocturne. Almost going to get to that happy time for the jungler.
And Spirit is new to this dastardly bot lane. Again, Morgana is just Puddle and Hope in terms of the laning phase. Here's the lane assignment change. Keen being forced out of the mid lane is going to be Urgot moved there. In a short lane, you don't have the chase potential on the Vayne, so actually, I think that's much better terrain to lane this Urgot against Vayne. And if you listen to players around, it was spoken about on the Euphoria podcast as well, with Wunder saying, you know, the word on the street is Vayne's very good against Urgot. And again, you understand it because how do you hit a damn skill shot on her or keep your machine gun going? But in a short lane, she can't pop ult and chase for an hour, and that's the advantage of this new lane assignment.
Cuvée as well, able to get some sweeping done here in the mid lane as he's shoved the lane forward. Our observers continue to get frustrated. Fly moves towards the top lane, so our mid laners are top lane. And one of the jungles, the Freecs is in the jungle. The other one is in the AD carry position. It's very, very strange, but Keen has had a very nice time so far. Against the Galio, things were great. Cuvé's been able to catch things back up again as far as that 1v1. But what it means now is that Yukal is in prime position on the Akali.
Move down bot lane, push, push, push means a wash in CS between Morgana and Kai'Sa. Like that for Kai'Sa, Alistar, a much more risky scaling lane. CS for CS mid lane, definitely to the advantage of Vayne. She's really strong right now. She occupies my ban spot on solo queue.
She's your one choice. There's been a few of those.
Fly kind of gets really little out of Galio except not dying against Akali. You can't really join for ults because you are top lane, and invading Camille ain't going to be happening for Peanut.
I feel like counterplay against this composition is just going to be really hard for Gen G. That's what I sort of see. I see a lot of camouflage, a lot of stealth, a lot of maneuverability, and a lot of unable to CC them.
I mean, I guess you just kill Spirit when he back shields someone else, because otherwise everyone is infuriating.
Yeah, but
to try to shut down.
It's going to be a Morgana that has a Zhonya's Hourglass much earlier than a lot of the other Morganas that we would see, and isn't necessarily as squishy as Luden's is most likely going to come first.
Question here I have, though, is, again, Gen G were like, let's pick a comp that does its thing. Yep. Nocturne goes in, Galio joins, happy times. Alistar's there to knock people up. You can't do that when Galio's top. You're not going to be using those combos onto Akali very reliably, maybe once in the game when the W is on cooldown. So now you don't do the combo ults until much later in the game, maybe an Infernal Drake fight or something like that. You're already losing out on something your comp does, and we're unsure in the late game if their comp can answer the Vayne. So if you don't do much in the early game, you don't do much in the late game, that's where you wonder how Gen G can use the tools they have, because now it feels like the tools are in the wrong kind of spots on the toolbar right now. The spanner's where the hammer should be. It's tricky here. And how Gen G problem solve is going to be interesting, because their problem solving, their in-game shot calling has been probably the worst of any LCK team in 2019. They've had strong comps and then just kind of been all on different missions and got nothing together.
And also when it comes to adapting on the fly, like you say, having strong comps and not necessarily making the right proactive moves is definitely a problem, but also their ability to understand what an enemy composition does and then fight against that rather than just do their own thing is a difficulty. Here's the Hextech ultimatum in the mid lane. Cuvée just taking so much damage. See you later, mate. It's going to be Spirit picking up that first kill, and Afreeca Freecs starting to make this comp look like it works.
Cuvée thinks about the fact that it's a short lane and goes the risky approach. He uses his Z, instantly interrupted by Dread, who feasts on champions like Camille. He's right up there with the great Camille play we saw from OnFleek in our first series. Too easy in the mid lane. I think that's mostly due to Cuvée having less experience. You think in a short lane, you're like, but the E is an escape. Well, no. Camille's going to interrupt it. Oh, and then cool flash, bro. You're dead.
It's unfortunate, and you can see Spirit, the classic grin on his face that I feel never leaves, even if they lose the games. But at least they're having fun. And we're still trying to figure things out, but I'm starting to have fun too, Pop Smithy. We got Vayne in the mid lane.
Man, if you win this game, you feel so good as Afreeca Freecs, because you're just like Gen G in the dumpster, right? You're feeling terrible after your first week. to win a game like this where a plan comes together, and I'd love to hear how many of these 5 champions made the blind pick comp. I assume they were putting together. Maybe it was a Protect the Karthus that became a Protect the Vayne. We don't know.
Yeah.
After the Karthus ban in the first round. It means so much for you, and then it's just the biggest sinking feeling if you're Gen G, because you went ultra standard, but then the lane swappers had to happen, and now it's all looking a bit messy. I feel like this is, to the nth degree, make this Galio Nocturne work, or otherwise, Vayne's showing up with 2 items, and you ain't got many answers.
Yeah, exactly right, and it's not similar to what we saw Teddy attempting in our previous series and what Griffin actually won with as well, because it's not Kai'Sa versus not a hyper carry, it's Kai'Sa versus Vayne, which is hyper carry versus hyper carry. And Vayne, after a recent buff with the final hour refreshing your Q so much faster, she does feel like a champion that works almost better than that of the Kai'Sa.
And Spirit's on basically a budget Vladimir. Again, one of these awesome dude bot laners, a mage, but he'll just flash ult, put down the black shield, and hope the rest of the team will carry. That's all he has to do on the Morgana, and it's uninteractive laning phase, so it's a much stronger laning phase than Vlad, who, as we know, can heavily struggle in the 2v2. So just relying on a bit of veterancy here. Spirit has played perhaps the most games of League of Legends of many players around the world. It feels like Spirit and Double Lift are the players who played just thousands and thousands of games over all these years. Reinventing himself again, and that part I respect a lot.
He's also played so much different League of Legends Spirit throughout his career. I mean, he was the Rakan, and he also played it quite nicely on the Afreeca Freecs when they were funneling. Spirit debuted the Lulu jungle. Has always been
Poppy
an innovator.
jungle.
Poppy jungle,
Karthus jungle.
So many things.
He plays whatever he thinks he's good, and he, again, puts in the work that no one can ever question, that he has command of his champion. He always does.
Yes.
The Lulu one was definitely interesting, and now he's upgraded from the funnel support to the bot lane carry. So good job, Spirit.
Bot lane utility carry, which I like, is Yukal not going to get knocked up there as Fly. Yeah, things will be fine. Galio being not quite as anti-mage as he used to be, but still relatively anti-mage. Will be feeling a little bit better here in this particular matchup.
And there was a hot second where people thought this is a counter. That's going to be hard to do.
Yeah. Paranoia not going to be opted in for here.
I think you have to flash if you Fly there. You can't miss it. It's a tragedy if you miss it, because now 2 huge cooldowns are down, and the invade instantly happens.
Precisely. Life not going to have any sort of smite to get rid of that one. Dread just takes away the red buff. You give away your position topside as a jungler. It's exactly what you're allowed to do as Dread.
But all the good parts of the Galio vs. Akali mid lane matchup, which I think was actually more Akali favored than people gave it credit. It wasn't a soft counter like Lissandra, for example.
Yeah.
They don't really work in the top lane, because you can't just Q lazily and have it cover basically the entire minion wave. You can't zone as easy, because the Shroud can be so much more creatively placed when there's such a long lane to trade on. So while it's better than Vayne, the sliding scale is just bad and worse for the Galio, and now is engaged, didn't come off, and he continues to just be at the whim of a free farming Akali.
And you can imagine that Afreeca Freecs largely built this comp around they are going to pick Galio and Urgot most likely if we leave them up. So these answers are definitely there on purpose, and whether they can actually work moving through towards the late game is the question. Because right now, I mean, there's not even a gold lead for the Afreeca Freecs, so they have to do more to try and push this forward. In order to help them there, they've got a Hextech Gunblade for the Akali. They're very close to the Blade of the Ruin King for Keen. They're getting there. We haven't quite hit our stride as the creative Afreeca Freecs draft just yet, so we don't need to be drinking the Kool-Aid straight away.
And Morgana's just so front-loaded in terms of power. Do notice he's already given up on W max. It's Q max second, 3 points W into Q max for more bindings. The thing is, Morgana, in the late game, yes, does damage, but you just never really get the value out of it when Stopwatch is introduced. Another way to not get hit by the Soul Shackles. The moment the Keen has the second item, they are really, really incredibly powerful. Unless they're caught in transition. Unless Galio Nocturne makes something happen. Paranoia going to be up soon. Just no breathing room for Gen G.
Yep, Cuvee can't even enter this lane. Understands that they don't have any vision bottom side, and we know with our God vision that, in fact, it was very dangerous to move up there as Fly. Not going to find any value from the Winds of War. And he's actually taking Q after Q level 11 here for Yukal as Peanut throws down the Rift Herald in a very curious location, as Shelly will have quite a journey to get towards this outer turret.
Especially because the bot lane isn't even in this side of the map. It's not like they have more members coming to outnumber, so it'll get a charge as Yukal.
Speaking of outnumbering, we've got a Rakan making his way up as well, as now Fly under half health, has to hero's entrance, but isn't even going to get as far as the next rush. And Shelly does get a charge, but that was real weird.
On both sides, Proud ulted. I don't know why. He was a screen away from the enemy. We talked about roaming Rakan, though, with the Morgana support, and that's why Spirit walks up. Could lose, potentially, on the Headbutt Pulverized Chicken, if the Black Shield isn't at the right timing, but this is what Spirit does on Morgana. This is what Bang did on the Morgana. You just push, 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 and hope that the team can carry you.
Well, there's the knock-up onto Fly, taking a lot of damage here, has been ignited, as in goes Dread, looking for him once again. Hero's entrance not available, as that was a really weird use of the hook shot. There are some unforced errors coming in from both sides, but Fly is going to escape.
That was the quintessential whoopsie is bot lane.
Speaking of whoopsies, Spirit finds himself under the turret, but may have actually found Ruler here, as there it is. Soul Shackles is going to get the stun, and now Life with the ultimate has to be really careful. Yep, Binding lands. Can he get this stopwatch? He's going to give it over to Spirit Blackness to get back under the turret. And now Yukal wants to kill Ruler. No ultimate available, no flash. Does have the heal, but does
he's
the
going for the turret dive.
no.
He's going for the turret dive here. He'll try it back, and he'll probably get away with it. That was actually really smart.
Yeah, that was really, really
Ruler.
cute.
They don't pull off the dive. Dive Morgana at your peril.
Yep, and that showed exactly why Soul Shackles is pretty damn good as an anti-dive tool, especially when you're not as anemic as a support variety Morgana.
Out onto his heel as well. I think he was out of position to use it, but I can't exactly remember the terrain. And Keen says, don't know what was going on there. I'm going to keep pushing.
Yeah, like most of the Veins in our solo queue games. I don't have a team. I just want to press my R button, outplay everyone.
Well, outplaying a Morgana. There was the Morgana meta of Season 1, where everyone hated Morgana because she did things like this, where, well, now you can't keep diving. Ruler can't even heal Life because he's too far away. No summoner used. It's all about if you hit the binding here. It's 4 points in it, so it's already a big nuke. They get the kill. Ruler tries. He doesn't heal. He actually doesn't respect that the Luden's proc will kill the Alistar. That was an unlikely way for the Noble Cow to go down, and Nofe and Co. are having a ball of a time. That's the best reaction we've had so far.
Why don't they have Doritos in there? You know, I feel like they're watching a game show or something like that. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, you can understand why, because the Afreeca Freecs are having a great time themselves.
Now we know why we have a coaching booth for moments like that. Hilarious. Between Coma being trolled whenever he's trying to yawn. And Afreeca's 4 coaches, if you guys are wondering. I Love Oov's still head coach. Nofe comes in as drafting coach, and they have Vinyl Cat and Yon also. Huge coaching staff. You know, this was probably burning the midnight oil. This is what's required for Afreeca Freecs to actually have a pretty strong early game, but not to the tune of a gold lead, you'll notice. No. It's actually 1,000 gold lead to Gen G.
Yes, so yes, there was a lot of craziness and weird stuff, but they lost a turret, they lost Shelly. It's going to cause top lane outer turret to fall.
Turret plates, and I guess the Shelly charge are the big reason that Gen G are ahead, but you bet they don't know it, right? They don't feel being ahead here. They feel like they're ready to be lowered into the ground. They feel really bad, no doubt. Freeca need to keep up, like you say, because the gold lead's not there. Because so far we've seen if it's 2-0, there's 5,000 gold from plates to be talked about. Because that's not there, Afreeca can never make a mistake, and that's with a lot of players on off-roll and a lot of creativity in the draft.
Well, speaking of which, we're looking to try and take down this outer turret in the mid lane. QV walking up relatively aggressively. I don't know whether he necessarily can with the coverage that he has, because you can see the littering of red wards on the bottom side of the map.
I prefer to call it a smattering, as I am a huge Winnie the Pooh fan. He loves a smattering of honey.
He does.
Gen G try to clear out wards. Remember, they are the comp with the dive, but haven't had the vision line to pull that off.
Okay.
Ocean Drake, not spawning for ages, so I guess we're just fighting here.
Well, Dread and Proud do have an opportunity to go in. Proud holds onto it. They just take down the ward. Playing a little bit more reserved. Proud playing with, in fact, Core JJ's skin. Not on the roster anymore, but still the Gen G skin for the Rakan.
About 1,900 gold till Rageblade is online. A good times roll for Keen. If you look at the roster and you say, who do you want on Vayne, you definitely choose Keen.
Oh, absolutely.
So
he was the resident Lucian player on the top side as well.
And he felt so sad in that second loss. Remember, he played Victor in their last time out against Humble Life and actually had a great laning phase, and then 7,000 people dove him, and he was like, well, I guess I'm dead, and we lost. So putting him on Vayne, the game is always about Vayne. There's a reason the Vayne spotting is such a fun meme, because you always look at Vayne, because you know how good it can be and how poorly it can go.
Yes.
And they've stacked the deck. They've got the Morgana support and huge hard engage from Rakan, Akali, and Camille. So, yeah, that timer is going to be huge.
You see Peanut in and then immediately out again, as he will lose his blue buff. Freecs with so much control over this jungle.
Oh, can he get a smite in?
Nope. Dread's able to steal that one away. And they are just playing with so much confidence. Yes, I mean, the lead is still, it's stretching for Gen G. They are getting further and further ahead, but it doesn't feel like it, like you said before. It feels like Freecs are only playing more and more aggressively as this game goes on as well, with their positioning around this map.
And you just feel like we'll be screaming Ruler's name or screaming Keen's name. That kind of has to be how this particular game goes. I think an AD carry will be the big talk point here. Galio's behind, doesn't really do much, just has an ult. Nocturne has been watching people steal his camps. And on the side of Afreeca, I guess Yuka could also pop off and just kill Kai'Sa. That's a possibility. But I feel like we know what's going on here, and it feels like Afreeca brought more backup. Pushing up is Silverbolt's a hell of a drug.
It is, and it hit twice there. You don't even need Halo Blades, and she still looks busted.
Rage Blade timer, probably 24 to 26 minutes, I would imagine.
That's already there for Ruler, so this is certainly a good time for Gen G. 2-item spike is nothing to scoff at. Now Proud, he's over here.
Siege is pretty rubbish for the side of Afreeca, so not really convincing anyone by pushing the minion wave. What's the objective, though? Ocean Drake in 10 seconds. They got some deep wards down, not spotted by that control ward. They probably just want to fight. There's a back timer here for Vayne. We definitely need the scoreboard board back up to understand where the items are at.
Exactly. I think Rage Blade is probably in, like you spoke about before. But
I feel like maybe the recipe down. I'd be surprised if it was already done, but it's possible. No Kleptomancy, so fairly honest Vayne in this game.
That's a good point.
Who's flanking who?
May potentially be out of position here. Does have the Shroud down, flashes, and only barely survives. And now Freecs in a 1 versus 5 scenario. Life going down very, very low as Dread. He's been ignited. Keen picks up that first kill, though, as Ruler. He's dancing around the fight, but condemned into the wall. And Keen picks up his second, and now he's dancing after 5. Proud's in there.
They're in again.
Yukel's going to help, and that's the triple. Can he get the quadra already? It's the final hour, most definitely, for Gen G, but 2 slink away.
The final hour's the pentakill. That was what we were expecting there the moment that Gen G realized they could not deal. The flash to condemn. Really nice Vayne mechanics from Keen, who's always been a carry player. We still don't know if he had a Rage Blade, but we do know that he'd dominate that fight. He'll have it on the next back, and he'll get the mid lane out of turret as well.
Yep, and things only get worse from here. Remember, that was a 4v5 that Freecs decided they'd go in on because this happened.
Because Yukao's out of the fight, he has to back and teleport back in. However, look at the terrain we're fighting on. Keen is under no threat at all, and no one is tanky with the terrain there. Into the backline to kill the Camille. So surprising, probably, to Ruler that there'll be the flash over the wall. Not many Vaynes would make that play, but they know that if Kai'Sa dies, there's a lot of health tanks, and there's a Vayne, and that only goes one way.
Yep, exactly right. Really nice stuff from Keen. Now he does have that Rage Blade and a BF sword.
Oh, great.
Okay, so I think he may have actually had the Rage Blade.
I want to say no. I was trying to track the autos to see if the double proc was happening, and he wasn't losing any autos, so it's not like he would have dropped the Ginsu's Rage. So I want to say no, but happy to be wrong on that one. I think that was probably just pickaxe on the back.
Oh my goodness, then that's a heck of a lot of extra money that he's got put into him.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Remember, Ruler died and didn't actually augment the build with anything but
However, let's return to what we've been talking about this whole game. Gold's still behind.
Yeah.
For the Freecs. They've still not taken more than 1 turret. Fly just doubles the turret score. And if you find a way, and I don't really have the recipe for this, so Master Chef will be required. If you find a way to kill Vayne, that could be big as Shroud.
Yep, Paranoia is going to come in as the Shroud is down, of course. Like you say, the Fear is going to arm there as Yukel uses the flash very late. Sorry, the ultimate, and is able to get the one back. Teleport comes in and Spirit says, what, you did all my job for me.
You ran, it rains, it pours, and another day Peanut gets that kill. He does not get it there. Some nice prestige dancing from Prestige Akali. Man, Akali, she's been free farming. She hasn't been fed, but she's been farmed. That's with no Vayne included. This game is entertaining, that's for sure.
That is definitely for sure. Even if we can't quite work out exactly how it is going to work out, given the gold issues that we're having, complete parity right here as Baron has been started from a very confident Afreeca Freecs.
They will need to turn off this one.
They will, as Spirit misses the binding. And Dread is very, very low. Proud, a little bit disconnected here from his team as Keen finds himself 1 versus 3, but nobody else is coming in. Hero's Entrance finally comes down, but Ruler dashes forward just so that he can get hit by the Baron.
Spirit should be dead here, okay.
Black Shield is available to keep him alive, and Proud comes over, has Battle Dance available, and some Grand Entrance for some shenanigans, and Yukal just says, guys, why were you fighting?
Felt like the turnaround fight because Flash and Cleanse were on cooldown for the Vayne. Maybe you could actually take her down. Not to happen. No kills either way, and Genji should be able to fall back with the Ocean Drake.
Yeah, Ocean Drake finally going to get started up here. 26 minutes into the game is fastly approaching, and Genji once again find themselves with a little bit of a gold lead.
Don't really get the Black Cleaver by Nocturne. They're already going to have one, and Nocturne usually goes either a lethality item or in competitive play, usually Guardian Angel and Sterix in some order. So he's actually pretty squishy, and I don't know about the utility on that item.
Yeah, I mean, the CDR is probably the only thing that I'd be looking at. But not exactly the best champion to abuse stacking Armor Shred.
There's games where double Black Cleaver makes a lot of sense. I don't know if Galio and Kaisa around Urgot and Nocturne is the game. So we'll leave that one to be decided. If you go in as Peanut, you need to stay fast, otherwise you're just a health tank for Vayne to instant kill.
Speaking of Vayne, now has GA, bought another stopwatch there as well, so Keen is very, very comfortable in these fights. Cleanse back available, and Flash almost back available also. Gold lead's feeling a little bit less relevant because I feel like you're only looking at one. It's whether or not Keen is ahead, and at the moment he is.
He's ultra ahead, and there's no play. Again, everyone has a playbook with their comps, but I don't see the play where Keen actually is made accountable. I don't see how Nocturne Galio can pull it off. Yes, you can catch people. You can make a mistake on the side of Afreeca, and Genji can outnumber very fast because they have Hero's Entrance and Nocturne, but if we're A-ramming, I just can't see them winning a fight. So Genji need to find a creative way to play around terrain, unless it's going to lead to some surprising win condition like a Baron steal or something like that.
Well, they allowed Genji to move over and get vision on the Baron, and immediately eradicated it. Peanut's not going to be able to help here. Enough sweepers. A lot of them now on cooldown. Spirit pays a visit to the mid lane and easily clears this one up. They will die very, very quickly to these minions as the Baron has been started once again.
They see 10,000 health. We know how fast this goes down. Life can lead this, has Flash on the Alistar.
Another binding is going to go wide here from Spirit as Life does pay a visit. Look at that damage. Just insane. As he does utilize the ultimate to keep himself alive and get out of the CC.
Because they're squishy, though, they had to releash the Baron. No one could tank it, so Baron back up to 10,000.
Yeah, Spirit makes his way over here as Fly looking to get in there next. He's the one to face check as Yukal comes on over to try and deter him.
Just a moment, Atlas.
He's going to come in. Paranoia down for Peanut. Actually looking to jump onto the Akali, but that might be the wrong target as Keen has already picked up a double and is chasing after Ruler. Wants to find any target that he can shoot at, and eventually it's going to be the Baron.
Every time they go onto Akali, she shrouds, she has her ultimate, Azonia's is probably there. They can just never kill her, and Keen says, thank you very much, you guys are gonna die. We're onto the Baron again. Does Cuvée have Smite? The answer is no.
Yeah, Voidseeker's in, but there's no Killer Instinct as Yukal goes into his shroud. Now Cuvée getting chased.
They actually kept the Baron leashed. Yes, they did, down to 5,000.
And remember, the passive of Keen means that he can basically chase anyone here as Cuvée trying to get the heck in there to stop this Baron, but there's just nothing they can do. That Voidseeker almost gave us a heart attack, but it's not going to happen. Dread has his finger on the smite button.
Watch the replay here. Again, they've had no value. They can't go onto anyone next to Morgana, so they say, ooh, can we kill the Akali? Even Kaisa rolls in, but she goes out, and then Keen just looks at people, and they are deleted instantly.
Yeah, and Peanut actually dived in on top of the Akali, realized he couldn't see her, and flashed over the wall. I don't even think he got an Umbral Blades proc out in that particular fight.
But he didn't die.
He didn't die. That's exactly right. Exactly right. So 10 out of 10 play from Peanut. But now we've got a Baron buff on the Afreeca Freecs. And that gold lead that we were talking about always being in the hands of Genji is very, very soon going to be well and truly out of it.
It just doesn't matter. Morgana's ultra utility even has an Athene's Holy Grail.
Yeah.
How about some sustain on those black shields? We say Yukal has Zhonya's Moronomicon and is just a ruse, honestly. It's just, please use cooldowns on me. This Vayne's going to do her thing.
Yep.
Life. He actually uses the Hexa Flash over the wall, but I don't think we're engaging right now.
Nope. Crowd comes over. Going to be able to get some vision down here, looking to try and get the textbook play.
Now, good news for Genji is that Afreeca's siege is pretty bad, so we're only playing 2 lanes. No one's pushing top side. But is there an order of button presses where they can actually kill Keen is the problem for the group.
Well, they're going to need to do it twice because the GA is in there, and I'm not entirely sure whether once is going to be a possibility here for this Genji squad, but they are setting themselves up for it. They've got 4 members hanging around the area, and Peanut and Life can get a flank in. Fly, in trouble actually, as Ruler comes on over just to pick up the minions.
So many people on Genji haven't even been able to play League of Legends this game.
Nope. This turret's going to die just to the cannon creeps that have been buffed up by the Baron. So the siege comp can be created out of a Baron buff almost every single time, and Freecs certainly needed it with the composition that they had. I feel like this comp either works incredibly well or incredibly not well, but it's looking pretty good at this point in time.
Can Genji do anything to change their fate? You know that I have been saying no for the last 10 minutes or so, and that was even when Genji had a gold lead. The gold is still a line ball. It's 3,000 gold, which is
like nothing.
Pretty small, but there's a Vayne and there's a Kai'Sa, and the Vayne is really tricky to kill.
And also incredibly far ahead at this point. Multi-kills every single fight. 100% of what this team can do. Get behind Keen has been a strategy that the Afreeca Freecs have been flirting with for a very, very long time.
All of Fly's abilities just seem so sad in this game.
Yeah, I know.
Walking up with a W
so
and then the black shield goes down and he's like, well, that's a pretty good ability against Taunt. He is very dapper.
He is.
Debonair, if you will. But I think Afreeca Freecs should deserve so much credit. You know that if you lose this game, you'll never forget it.
Nope. And if you win, it's the same stories. Hextech Ultimatum onto the Gargoyle Stoneplate Urgot. True Damage doesn't care about that. The flash in from Keen is ridiculous. Yukao is going to be able to pick up one of them. May die underneath this turret, but no. Goes into stasis, and that is all she wrote, Papa. You said it might be a pentakill, but no. It's getting shared this time, as this is a full team effort, as the Nexus is taken down at 32 minutes. Afreeca Freecs had a gold lead for about 3 of those minutes.
And could there be any bigger a delta than how you feel as Afreeca Freecs right now and how Genji and their coaching staff will feel? Nothing went right for either of these teams in week 1, and then Afreeca, Mad Scientist hat on, Spirit as bot lane carry Morgana. Keen gets fed, Keen gets going, Keen wins the game, and a lot of people on Genji are just like, my abilities just don't do anything. Paranoia couldn't be used for any relevant dives. The top lane dive wasn't pulled off as the timing was off between Fly and Peanut. You lose to an off-meta comp like this when you don't have a single game win, and you just have to feel down in the dumps if you're Genji.
And also, you look at the comp that Genji had, and it's not like they were playing old League of Legends or anything like this. It's not an old man composition at all. It's what all the other good teams have been winning on. And Genji just got straight up destroyed because that's what was expected.
I mean, they were decimated, Atlas. It wasn't ever reading in the gold. I wonder who the MVP
will be. Who do you think the MVP's going to be, guys?
It should be Spirit. Come on, he was very far away from the jungle.
Absolutely, and he helped get first blood. In fact, got first blood.
Atlas, if they don't change their roster, how many of these do you think that Afreeca prepared?
Look, I know the mad scientist setup that they have over
They have a lot
Afreeca
of coaches, a lot of smart people on that team.
And a lot of players to practice things with.
Yep, and nobody has any idea about what to expect.
And you know how we get sneak previews sometimes in the notebooks? I have a feeling that if you have a sneak peek at the Afreeca Freecs notebooks, they will have some very strange things in there. And now,
usually Korean is enough reason for me not to sneak in. I think even if my Korean was at the highest level, I still have no idea what their notebooks are talking about, Atlas.
It's all in like...
Tread was the 80 carry, sort of, lining up.
Was he? I think Keen was actually the 80 carry. I don't know.
What does aiming make of this game? Aiming's like, I'm not even the best Vayne on my team. Damn it!
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, it's that Beatles quote all over again. It's just... It's a weird and wonderful world we live in, Papa Smithy, and honestly, I just hope nothing changes on the side of the Afreeca Freecs, and we see the next level of ridiculous that comes out. I think if I was Genji, the one adaptation I'd make, I guess, is to ban Camille.
Morgana?
I don't know.
Then Spirit has to lane with a champion that actually requires some sort of mechanics.
That's true. Wait, there are plenty of others.
What would he play if not Morgana? Karma?
I'm not entirely sure. not entirely sure. But, ladies and gentlemen, this was one hell of a game.
It was. I feel richer for being here.
Yeah. And I believe we are going to have a short break, but when we get back, it's going to be more Freecs versus Gen G. You wouldn't want to miss it, because you might learn a thing or two about what the meta may become.
Watching over these highlights here, seems like the Korean casters want to talk more about it. I loved Keen in this fight.
Yeah,
not
I feel like
many
everyone
veins.
wants to talk about this game.
Not many veins flash in there and get the condemn. But the moment that you say, wait, they can't do anything if Kai'Sa's dead, it makes perfect sense. It makes sense why you go for the bold flash. And then it was just, it felt like Gen G have 5 good actors, but they've all been miscast. All of them are in the wrong role.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise is a random supporting character.
Yeah.
It's just, and then in the clutch, little moments like that just didn't go for the side of Gen G. It was, in so many different ways, a game you want to forget as fast as possible if you're Gen G or a Gen G fan.
And they tried to burst UCal down. They got the taunt in the right position there, which I guess is why Peanut actually decided to use the Paranoia active on him, because otherwise it looked very curious. And that's Gargoyle's Stoneplate, guys. That's tankiness. Didn't look like it. Silver Bolts ignores everything. And just made Vayne look like the silliest champion ever. It's like one of those games that we've all had in solo queue. I know we've been talking about that a little bit with the Draven game that we had earlier on in the day, but look at that. 21.4 thousand damage from Keen, and he is the only champion necessary in this game.
Now,
for
prove me wrong.
To win.
How do we know the champs that didn't go, guys, I'm a Smurf, I'm going to play Vayne?
Exactly.
I mean, we didn't even have players in their assigned roles, clearly.
Yep.
I think Keen just smurfed on this particular game, and prove me wrong, I don't got any comms to listen to. I couldn't understand them if we did have them.
Maybe they're just so jealous of everyone starting the season because, of course, this is a team that doesn't play very much solo